By the fall of 2001, Enron commanded a sprawling physical and economic presence. As the seventh-largest corporation in the United States, it anchored the Houston skyline with a monolithic glass tower that projected absolute financial invulnerability. Inside that tower, on Wednesday morning, November 28th, Linda Lay sat at her computer. She is the wife of Enron's chairman, Kenneth Lay. Before the financial markets had fully opened, she quietly executed a single transaction, selling 500,000 shares of Enron stock. Over the course of the next 48 hours, 20,000 employees would lose their jobs. $2 billion in worker pension savings would evaporate completely. The company itself would cease to exist. The public had no idea this collapse was imminent. The employees certainly didn't. This massive, sudden liquidation occurred in a total information vacuum, a quiet, anomalous exit, executed just as the 48-hour clock began to run out. To decode why the company died so violently in a span of 2 days, we have to look past the final stock charts. We have to map the invisible rot that had been spreading through Enron's foundation for the last 16 years. Enron started in 1985 as a highly predictable, thoroughly boring natural gas pipeline operator. That changed when an executive named Jeffrey Skilling introduced a single radical concept: stop owning physical assets and start trading the abstract rights to things like gas, bandwidth, and electricity. The model appeared incredibly lucrative. By the year 2000, Enron was reporting $111 billion in revenue. The entire operation functioned on the strict assumption that the company's valuation would continue to rise indefinitely. Maintaining that trajectory required an architect. In 1990, Enron hired a financial executive named Andrew Fastow. He possessed a highly specific skill set. He knew how to read accounting rules to make massive corporate losses vanish from the public record. His weapon of choice was the special purpose entity. Fastow built a sprawling shadow network of shell companies. These structures existed solely to buy Enron's bad investments and absorb its failing assets. The losses sat invisibly inside this network, while Enron's public balance sheet projected continuous, unbroken profit. There was a fatal design flaw in this machine. Fastow's shadow companies were secretly collateralized by Enron's own stock. The insurance policy protecting the company was forged from the exact same material it was supposed to be insuring. The leadership knew about this exposure. Months before the collapse, a vice president named Sharon Watkins sent Kenneth Lay a 7-page memo. She clearly outlined the risk of the Fastow partnerships and predicted that Enron would, quote, implode in a wave of accounting scandals. Kenneth Lay read the warning, forwarded it to his outside law firm, and filed it away. The executives actively chose to maintain the mythology rather than dismantle the bomb they had built. By November 9th, the stock was rapidly falling, and Lay secured what looked like a final lifeline. A smaller, solvent Houston energy competitor named Dynegy agreed to acquire Enron and absorb all of its liabilities. The announcement provided an immediate gasp of air. Enron received $1.5 billion in emergency bridge financing, stabilizing the stock price and reassuring the thousands of employees watching their retirement funds. But an acquisition requires due diligence. For 19 days, Dynegy's executives were granted full access to Enron's internal ledgers, allowing them to finally see the shadow structures Fastow had hidden from the public. Building intensity. What they found was a liability crater that kept expanding. The hidden obligations mounted into the billions, culminating in the discovery of an undisclosed $690 million debt that was due for repayment in just 8 days. Recognizing the true scope of the rot, Dynegy withdrew from the deal. They made the formal announcement on the morning of November 28th, the exact same morning Linda Lay liquidated her 500,000 shares. The collapsed merger instantly converted Enron's theoretical accounting problems into immediate, lethal cash demands. The company was now entirely out of money and out of time. On November 29th and 30th, the financial markets reacted. Enron's credit rating was formally downgraded to junk status. This single action triggered acceleration clauses embedded deep in their contracts, meaning billions of dollars in long-term debt became instantly due. The stock plummeted to 26 cents a share. Inside the building, thousands of employees tried to sell their company-matched 401k plans to salvage their life savings. They couldn't. They were legally blocked by internal age restrictions and a routine administrative freeze that paralyzed every account. While the workforce sat at their desks, completely immobilized, Kenneth Lay had already spent the previous 3 years exercising personal stock options worth $180 million. By Sunday, December 2nd, Enron filed for the largest corporate bankruptcy in the history of the United States. Within days, 5,600 employees were handed termination notices. Security guards gave them exactly 30 minutes to collect their personal belongings and leave the building. The collateral damage spread outward. Arthur Andersen collapsed under criminal conviction. Jeffrey Skilling went to federal prison. Andrew Fastow served 6 years and now tours business schools giving lectures on corporate ethics. Enron stands as a study in asymmetrical power. The architects designed a system that functioned as an escape hatch for the leadership, ensuring those who provided the actual capital, the employees and the pension funds, remained trapped inside when the building